So Pete is tossing out the question, and I don't have a good answer either, Pete. So maybe we'll start that as a way to have a little bit of discussion. Is how should we handle follow-up questions?
Maybe have the group decide this. Oh, sorry. I'm Sue. Here's Kelly. Live down the road about a mile.
Okay.
And maybe have the group decide if it's a discussion that they want to keep going. And you as a facilitator could ask, do we want to keep this discussion going or move on? And we could have a raise of hands.
Okay. So the suggestion has been made that I, as a facilitator, if there's a follow-up question, ask the group, do we want to keep going on this? And have a show of hands. What do people think? Is that an idea that's going to work?
Yeah, it could work.
Could work? Pete, you're not so sure.
I don't know. I honestly, I just know that I sometimes get full of yeah buts. I just don't know.
Okay.
Sometimes.
Okay, so that was kind of a yeah but to Sue's suggestion.
So if your yeah but is something that a lot of us have a yeah but about, we'd want to hear the response to that. We'd all say yeah but. But if you're a solitary yeah but or minority yeah but, then
Well, it comes down to the point of I ask a question and perhaps I don't understand the answer.
I think clarification is different than a yeah but.
I couldn't think of that word. I think you're right.
I think clarification doesn't need any sort of majority rule, but if and maybe even one follow-up, yeah, but if it goes beyond one follow-up and it becomes a sidetrack.
That's a good idea.
Okay. So there's an idea on the table here that there can be one yeah but, and then if after the one yeah but the person isn't satisfied, that then maybe we put it to the group, we being me, put it to the group and say, should we continue discussing this, or what? Suggest that maybe the person follow up with the attorney after the meeting, or something like that.
Or just get back in the queue with their hand again.
Okay, or just get back in the queue with their hand again. All right, and Tony, is this related to this conversation, or is this something else?
And the whole thing. We came here to learn. Right?
Did we come here to learn?
We
I
came here
think
to
so.
learn. So we've got to be able to ask our questions and get an understanding. We're not here to learn, so we don't have a yeah but. So being respectful and asking yeah but without creating an argument, I think we should be able to discuss it without having a very sort of argument. I think that's the idea here. Right. So try to allow it.
Okay, and I actually heard two pieces in that. So part of what Tony said, for those who didn't hear him, is that he said that what we're all here for, he thinks, is that we're all here to learn and to get our questions answered. And so in that regard, asking a follow-up, if you need to further clarify your question, makes sense and should be allowed. And I'm paraphrasing here. The other piece that Tony said, though, that I want to cue into as well, is that you also indicated, Tony, that it shouldn't be about provoking an argument, that it should be in the spirit of learning. Is that fair? Did I paraphrase that fairly? Yeah, okay. So is that something that people can be agreeable to as well? Is there a yeah but?
Yeah.
Yes. Okay, let me try and capture that on here. This was a good conversation, you guys. Thanks. So regarding follow-up questions. Regarding follow-up questions, we decided you get one freebie, right? You get one follow-up question, one follow-up. So that one follow-up is allowed, that it should be in the style of, or in the spirit of learning and not argumentation. And that if it appears as though we want to have extended conversation about it, then we should go to the group to see whether the group wants to do that.
law about respect, and there's another meeting after this, and this is just to present the moratorium, so I think we should start.
Okay, so Bruce would like to get going with the meeting. And it seems like there's other people that agree with that. There was something over here. It was a sign conversation. All right. So that actually, you guys, is a little bit of a question. I appreciate the spirit in which all of this has been offered, and it seems as though I should probably just ask, just to be sure, but is there anybody who feels as though they can't abide by these kinds of agreements that we just made? That it's not going to work, that you're not willing to do it that way? He's not willing to not give the facilitator a hard time. Yeah, Sue.
Not that it won't work, but hearing the comment there that there's another meeting, and I know I don't know what they all are, but there's a lot of meetings involving this topic tonight. Is there a time frame that we want it to be done by? And if there's a way to address some of the major points that can get people to be able to express, if there's a majority of people or many people who want to go to those other meetings, is there a way to do both? That's the only question. But I don't want to delay getting on with the meeting. But I don't know if there's a way. There's a lot of people that want to go to the other meetings on this. Is it a conflict in getting people able? If the people going to need to leave, should they be able to express their views first?
That's a good question. If people need to leave this meeting tonight early, is there anybody here who needs to leave early? So there's an offer out that if there's people that might need to leave early. Okay, and do we want to set an end time for this? Okay. What time is it now? It's 7:30. Don, how long is your section going to take? To give an overview of the moratorium.
No more than 10, probably 5.
Okay, so 5 to 10 minutes for Don. So let's say that by 7:30, quarter to 8, we'll begin discussion. How long do people want to go? 10 o'clock? No? Okay. 9:30? 9 o'clock? Okay. Who's in favor of 9? And who's in favor of 9:30? All right, Pete's going to hang out and everybody else will leave. Okay, so we'll try to have a conversation until 9, and then we'll see. We'll see what the energy's like and what people's endurance is and where we're going to go from here. There will be other meetings. There could potentially be another conversational meeting like this if we find it's needed. There will most certainly be a public hearing and eventually a board vote on the resolution one way or the other. So I think then that we are good to go. Does anybody have any last minute itches that they need to get to before we turn it over to Don? Actually I do have one. Just quickie. You want to just stand up for a second, Guy, and introduce yourself?
Probably most of you know me. I'm Guy Crow, local attorney, and I act as attorney and advisor to the town and the town board. I represent 8 towns in 3 different counties, so I've dealt with this issue a lot, and actually it just came from this exact same meeting in Lansing, so I may have a lot of answers relatively fresh on my mind.
Okay, what I came to help the group with is understanding how the law is put together. There are a few copies floating around. Is there still a couple up here?
Yeah, there's still a few copies of the law
I know
here.
most of you have had a chance to look at it online, but if you don't have it, if you can't find it online, then please pick up a hard copy. We can make more hard copies if you need it. We have a few here tonight to look from. So with that, this is how the local law is structured. First, it has a title, which is the local law to effect a moratorium and prohibition within the town of Caroline of natural gas and petroleum exploration and extraction activities, underground storage of natural gas, and disposal of natural gas or petroleum extraction, exploration, and production waste. So that is the title. And then I'm after this, I'm going to spend a little bit of time on section 2, which is the authority, the findings, and the purpose. So we have an understanding of how this came together, but I want to go through the construction of the law. Then after there's definitions, which is a couple of pages. And, it's up to define these terms, because many of them are not familiar to us as they're new things coming into what we're talking about. Section 4 is the meat. This is the moratorium and prohibition. This tells what is being prohibited and for a year and what the moratorium is about. And the reason that there's prohibitions is that we do not have in the town have zoning or other land use authority established, so there actually are prohibitions being set up with this local law, as opposed to just a moratorium which would stop the issuance of permits. Section 5 is penalties if someone does not comply with the local law. Section 6 talks about grandfathered activities, so it recognizes that maybe some of these activities may be already taking place and will allow them to continue to take place, and there's a description of that within the law. Then there's an invalidity of conflicting approvals, so this describes if you were to get approval from another authority, but not within the town of Caroline, it talks about that relationship. Then Section 8 is a hardship exemption. So if someone feels that there's a hardship complying with this local law, then there's a process that they can go through. And this Section 8 describes what those exemptions are, so that you would know, so you can see how you would plug in to apply for an exemption. Section 9 actually talks about the application process and talks about the timelines and so on, so that this doesn't drag out forever. There are specific timelines that the town board would need to comply with in order to keep moving this hardship exemption application along. Section 10 is standard local law language, which says that some section of this is found to be invalid if the rest of the law still stays in place. And then Section 11 is the superseding intent and effect clause, and I'll let Guy maybe answer questions on that if you have some. So with that, I'll spend just a second on Section 2. Section 2 talks about the authority, and it tells where the authority for this local law comes from. It comes from the New York State Constitution, municipal home rule law, and environmental conservation law, as well as a couple of others. So there is a process, and there is statute that allows this type of an activity and local law to take place. And if you have questions on that, I refer those to our attorney, who actually reads this stuff for a living. The second, right after the authority, it talks about the findings, and these are statements of things that happen within the community. So if there's a description, number one is a description of the community, talks about our size, where we're located, a little bit about our physical structure that we have with being over 2 watersheds, and essentially a continental divide of sorts where water flows north and south. And the second one talks about aquifers and their importance and how they're used in the community. The third finding is about critical environmental areas, that they do exist within the town. 4 is aesthetics, the scenic beauty that we have and other vistas and things that we have in the town of Caroline. Number 5 is potential effects of gas drilling extraction. So these are things that the town recognizes